The scream shot down the marble staircase of the Hale mansion hard enough to rattle the copper pots in the kitchen. Elena Cruz, 42, paused at the back entrance with a bag of rags on her hip and a quickened pulse. She'd been hired 3 days ago to clean the most enviable address in Beverly Hills, and already the place felt colder than its air-conditioned shine. "Stop making such a fuss," a woman's voice barked from above. "Your father will see what kind of child you are." A door slammed. Footsteps hammered the stairs. Dolores, the veteran housekeeper who had welcomed Elena, swept into the kitchen, shaking her head. The boss is riled again. Ms. Veronica has no patience." "What boss?" Elena asked, though she already knew. "Veronica Hale. Stepmother. Mr. Richard's out on business, as usual." Dolores sighed. "Listen, Carino. This job isn't easy. The little one has Down syndrome. And the lady, she has her own methods." Elena moved before her courage could think twice. On the second floor, a sleek blonde in immaculate silk slid out of a bedroom, smoothing her platinum hair as if she were straightening a mask. "You must be the new cleaning woman," she said without meeting Elena's eyes. "Good, I need to step out. The girl's throwing a tantrum. When she stops, you can clean." "Is she okay?" Elena asked. "She's dramatic. Special children are like that, spoiled." Veronica's smile didn't touch her eyes. "Don't go in until she calms down. And if Richard calls, tell him everything is perfect." Her heels clicked away. Elena waited for the front door to thud shut, then knocked softly. "Hi, little one. May I come in? I won't scold you. I promise." The crying hiccuped, then dwindled. Elena slipped in to find a small brown-haired girl curled on the floor, cheeks blotched, brows tight, with the effort of breathing between sobs. "Hey, beautiful. What's your name?" "Mia." She sounded wary and brave at once. "I'm Elena. Why were you crying?" Mia pressed a hand to her stomach. "It hurts." "Hungry?" A nod. The clock downstairs blinked 1 o'clock. "Did you eat breakfast?" Veronica forgot. Mia whispered, as if forgetting to feed a child were a thing that happened in normal houses. In the kitchen, Mia swung her legs while Elena made a sandwich. "How many pieces did I cut?" Elena asked, holding it up. "2," Mia said, brightening. "That's right. How far can you count?" Mia grinned and rattled off numbers to 5, glowing under praise like a plant thirsty for sun. She devoured the sandwich with a ferocity that turned Elena's stomach. They were stacking blocks later when the front door opened. Mia stiffened. Veronica glided into the doorway. "Did she eat?" she asked, voice sweet and cold. "She was hungry," Elena said. "Mia has set meal times," Veronica said. "If she eats now, she won't want dinner." When she turned away, Mia tugged Elena's sleeve and whispered, "She hurts me." "How?" Elena breathed, but footsteps returned. Veronica's fingers clamped Mia's forearm with enough pressure to print a red bloom. "Faster," she hissed. "Your father doesn't like mess." Mia's eyes filled. Elena swallowed the hot urge to intervene. One outburst, and she'd be tossed on the sidewalk, leaving this child alone with that woman. That night, Elena walked out beneath the mansion's spotlit hedges with a face that said nothing and eyes that promised everything. Once, years ago, she'd watched her little sister who also had Down syndrome with her in an orphanage under methods that were just cruelty wrapped in rules. Elena had been 15 then, powerless. Not anymore. The next morning Mia sat on the stairs in pajamas, hair tangled, eyes puffy. In the garden, Veronica paced among roses with a phone to her ear. "Richard, honey," she slept great. "Already 8, playing so cute," she cooed, while Mia's stomach growled audibly. Later, a second call, this time not to Richard, curdled the air. "Mom, every time I look at her, I remember she's another woman's child. When I lost my baby, she stayed, taking the place that should have been his. And now this new cleaner is making her smarter. If Richard notices I'm not doing enough, sometimes I think a boarding school would be better. Then we could have our real family." Elena plated scrambled eggs and slid them to Mia. Veronica breezed in, smile fixed. Couldn't she wait until lunch? She shooed Mia away and turned her icy focus on Elena. "If you spoil her, you hinder her development. We decide what's best." An hour later, a thud and a cry jolted the hallway. Mia clutched her arm on the carpet. "She pushed me," Mia whispered. Veronica's laugh was brittle. "She lies when she messes up." Under cold water in the bathroom, Elena lowered her voice. "Why?" "I'm slow with toys," Mia said, eyes on the door. Elena felt the familiar ember harden into a plan. That night, Elena sat at her kitchen table, laptop open, scribbling notes. Children's rights, mandatory reporting, how to document abuse so it sticks in court. In the morning, she tucked a small voice recorder into her apron and pressed the button. She caught everything: the fake sweetness for Richard over the phone, the venom when the call ended. "Look at you," Veronica told Mia, fingers digging in. "Clumsy. Your father should be ashamed. Sometimes I think it would have been better if you'd never been born." The words hissed onto tape like a confession. Elena made a game of learning. In 20 minutes, Mia could write her own name. Then mom, home, happy. "You're smart," Elena said. "When something hurts you, draw it for me. It'll be our secret." Mia's crayon produced a small crying figure and a tall one yelling. Veronica snatched the page, shredded it. What an ugly drawing. No more. It agitates her. She leaned close to Elena. "And stop feeding between meals. If you keep undermining discipline, I'll reconsider your employment." Elena's hands didn't tremble when she called Dr. Naomi Pierce, a social worker she'd met during her sister's case. "I need to do this right," she said. "Recordings, photos, the child's drawings." "Careful," Naomi warned. "They'll have lawyers." "I have patience," Elena said. "And a memory." On the fourth day, a glass of juice tipped. Veronica slapped Mia's hand and sent her upstairs without breakfast. Elena photographed the reddened skin, tucked away a drawing of a big mouth and the word hungry, and recorded a conversation in the garden that would turn any court's stomach. "I can't stand pretending to like this child. I'll push for a boarding school. When Richard's around, I act like we're perfect." By week's end, Veronica had started planting her real seed. "The new cleaner is making Mia too dependent," she purred to Richard at dinner. "If she leaves, Mia will fall apart." Elena heard the trap and went upstairs. "Are you leaving?" Mia asked, panicked. "She said you can." "I won't leave without fighting for you," Elena said. "Do you believe me?" Mia nodded, fierce in her tiny way. Elena spent that night arranging her arsenal. 12 recordings, 15 photographs, 23 drawings in a folder that could knock the gloss off any reputation. She also had Veronica's own voice, stripped of charm and mercy. The opportunity came on a Friday when Richard announced he'd be working from home. Veronica's smile was too quick. Through the day, he watched subtle things. How Mia shrank under Veronica's commands, how she brightened when Elena turned cleaning into a color-sorting game. In the afternoon, a glass of water skittered across the table. Veronica forgot her audience. "You're impossible," she snapped, gripping Mia's arm and shoving her toward the stairs. "Go to your room." "What's going on?" Richard appeared, frowned sharp. Veronica's tone pivoted. "Firm discipline. She acts out for attention." "Mr. Hale," Elena said evenly. "May I speak with you alone?" Veronica tried to cut in. Elena didn't let her. In his office, Elena set her phone on the desk. "For the past 6 weeks," she said, "I've been documenting what happens when you're not home." She hit play. Veronica's voice filled the room. Disgrace, shame, better off never born. Elena laid out photos of bruises and tiny wrists, then the drawing stick figures and storms of scribble sand. Finally, the recording of Veronica telling her mother she couldn't stand pretending, that she wanted Mia gone. Richard stared, color draining from his face. The office door burst open. Veronica froze at the sight of the phone. "You're going to believe a cleaning woman over your wife?" she demanded. "I'm going to believe evidence," Richard said, voice hoarse. He replayed the line about never having been born. Veronica blanched. "You recorded me?" "I recorded you hurting a defenseless child," Elena said. "She's manipulative," Veronica snapped. "That woman has filled Mia's head with lies." Richard held up a drawing. "Did she draw these lies too?" Veronica made one last mistake. "You're choosing a cleaning lady and a disabled child over me?" Richard's anger detonated. "I'm choosing my daughter over your cruelty. Get out." She packed in a storm of zippers and venom, pausing at the door to fire a parting shot. "The real world isn't as kind as you think." "The real world," Richard said, "is where adults protect children." When the house exhaled, Mia tiptoed into the living room. "Daddy, is Veronica leaving?" "She's not coming back," he said. "Good. Now can I be happy?" "You can, princess." She launched into Elena's arms. Richard turned to Elena, eyes wet. "How do I thank you?" "You don't owe me," she said. Family protects family. I don't want a cleaner anymore, he said quietly. I want a housekeeper I can trust, someone to look after Mia when I can't. It would be an honor, Elena said, holding the child who would no longer have to ask permission to be safe. 6 months later, the mansion felt like a different place. Elena's title was official and her pay honest, with benefits and boundaries. More important, Mia bloomed. She wrote her name with pride, learned new words every week, laughed until the walls seemed warmer. Doctors called it progress. Elena called it proof. Across town, Veronica sold handbags on commission in a department store. Her circle vanished, alimony denied on the strength of evidence that didn't blink under scrutiny. Sometimes, watching Mia run across the sunlit lawn, Elena thought of her sister and the fights she'd lost as a girl. The best revenge, she decided, wasn't shouting down abusers, it was building a life their cruelty could never enter. People whispered that Elena had been just the help, that she'd overstepped. Let them argue. Controversy protects nothing. Evidence does. And in this house, a quiet storm had toppled a woman who thought power meant never being questioned. It turned out power was a 42-year-old cleaner with a recorder, a memory, and a promise she refused to break.